Metaphor, saying something is something else to make a comparison. For example, life is a roller coaster compares life to a thrilling ride with ups and downs. Simile, comparing two things using like or as. For instance, her voice was as smooth as silk compares a voice to soft fabric. Personification, giving human traits to non-human things. The wind whispered through the trees gives the wind the human ability to whisper. Alliteration, using words that start with the same sound close together. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers is a famous example. Onomatopoeia, words that sound like what they mean. Buzz, hiss, and boom are examples that mimic the sounds they describe. Hyperbole, an over-the-top exaggeration. Saying, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse doesn't mean you'd actually eat a horse, just that you're very hungry. Irony, when something happens that's the opposite of what you'd expect. Like a fire station burning down. Synesthesia, describing one sensory experience in terms of another. Like loud colors or sweet melody. Tautology, saying the same thing twice in different words. Free gift is a common tautology. Foreshadowing, hints about what might happen later in a story. If a character says, I have a bad feeling about this, it might mean trouble is coming. Flashback, when a story jumps back in time to show something that happened earlier. It helps explain current events or a character's background. Imagery, words that paint a picture in your mind. The golden sun sparkled on the rippling blue water helps you see the scene clearly. Symbolism, using an object or idea to represent something else. A dove often symbolizes peace, while a rose might symbolize love. Allusion, referring to a well-known person, place, event, or work of art. Saying someone has the Midas touch alludes to the Greek myth of King Midas, who said everything he touched turned to gold. Oxymoron, putting two opposite ideas together. Bittersweet is a good example. Pun, a play on words that sounds similar but has different meanings. Need an ark to save the animals. Know a guy is a classic pun. Euphemism, a softer way to say something harsh or unpleasant. Saying someone passed away instead of died is a common euphemism. Repetition, using the same word or phrase multiple times for effect. Like when your mother is warning you. Anaphora, starting several sentences with the same words. I came, I saw, I conquered is a famous example. Paradox, a statement that seems to contradict itself but might be true. The only constant is change is a paradox about life always changing. Juxtaposition, putting two different things side by side to compare them. The rich man and the poor man stood together shows contrast. Climax, the most exciting or important part of a story, usually near the end. Anachronism, when something appears in the wrong time period. Like a character in a story about ancient Rome using a laptop. Deus ex machina, when a problem in a story is suddenly solved by an unexpected event or character. In medias res, starting a story in the middle of the action, then explaining what happened before. Many action movies start this way. Dramatic irony, when the audience knows something the characters don't. Like in a horror movie when we know the monster is behind the door, but the character doesn't. Allegory, a story where characters and events represent bigger ideas. Just because you don't eat other people's food doesn't mean other people won't eat your own. This is not about food. Apostrophe, when a character speaks to someone or something that isn't there. Colloquialism, using casual, everyday language in writing. Ain't and y'all are colloquial words. Epiphany, it's the realization moment when a character figures something important out. Euphony, words that sound pleasant together. Melody and lullaby are euphonious words. Hamartia, a character's fatal flaw that leads to their downfall. Like a hero's pride causing them to make mistakes. Pathetic fallacy, when the weather or environment matches a character's mood. Rain during a sad scene is an example. Red herring, a false clue in a mystery that leads readers or characters in the wrong direction. Satire, using humor to criticize or make fun of something, often in society or politics. Synecdoche, using a part to represent the whole. Saying wheels to mean a car is an example. Verisimilitude, making something seem real or true even in fiction. Archetype, a typical character, action, or situation that represents universal patterns of human nature. Bildungsroman, a story that follows a character's growth from youth to adulthood. Chiasmus, a phrase where the second part is balanced against the first, but with the parts reversed. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Ellipsis, leaving out words or phrases that are understood. Like saying I like oranges, and she apples instead of I like oranges, and she likes apples. Epigraph, a quote at the beginning of a book or chapter that relates to the story. Epithet, a descriptive word or phrase used to characterize someone or something, like Alexander the Great. Frame narrative, a story that has another story inside, where one story sets up and surrounds another. Litotes, a type of understatement where you say what something isn't to emphasize what it is. Not bad, to mean very good is an example. Palindrome, a word or phrase that reads the same backward and forward. Madam is an example. Motif, a recurring idea, object, or image in a story. Polysyndeton, using extra conjunctions in a sentence for effect. We have ships and men and money and stores. Anthropomorphism, making animals or other non-human creatures do human things. Talking animals in cartoons are a common example. Cacophony, harsh or unpleasant sounds. Like plates crashing crashing on the floor. Stream of consciousness, writing that follows a character's thoughts as they happen, often jumping from one idea to another quickly. Omniscient narrator, a storyteller who knows everything about all characters and events in the story. Didacticism, writing that's meant to teach or instruct, often with a moral lesson. Pathos, writing that appeals to the reader's emotions already inside them. In flagranti delicto, catching someone in the act of doing something wrong. Assonance, repeating vowel sounds in nearby words. Light white kites repeats the I sound. For consonants, it's called consonance. Thank you for your time, leave a like for me, and I'll see you soon.